We're outside today on my terrace because it's just a beautiful autumn crisp day and I want to do my harvest apple cake. What a perfect occasion. I want to make this cake for many reasons today, besides the fact that it's a fall, beautiful day, but because, as I was saying in another recipe I did earlier, my apple almond cobbler, my husband goes a little nuts when it comes to picking apples at harvest time. So I have apples still everywhere. No matter how many apple recipes I've been making, I have yet to make a dent. But this cake makes a big dent. It takes 5 apples, any kind. I don't even know which kind we have because they're all mixed up. There's Fuji and Cortland and Macintosh. I don't know, but with this cake, no matter what apple I use, it works. So, because apples are a different size, I say 5 apples, but it comes down to 5 cups, chopped, perfect, roughly cut. It doesn't have to be fancy. It's a kind of a rustic cake. And I'm going to start making it, and then I want to tell you a little bit more about why I chose today to make this cake. So let me get started. Canola oil. 3/4 cups of sugar, and this is very interesting. This is why I decided to make this cake today for you. I just wrote a post which I should publish later today called "Put Sugar in Its Place," and I mean that quite literally. Sugar belongs in desserts. It does not belong in pasta sauces and crackers and chips and salad dressings and all the places that it is in the food supply that you don't even know is there. You don't know that the sugar is there. It shouldn't be there. You don't taste it's there, but it's there nonetheless. That's where the sugar is toxic. I mean, sugar in itself is not toxic. It's the excess of the sugar that's toxic. And if you're eating it everywhere, every place you turn without knowing it, what chance do you have? Of course, you shouldn't drink it in soda. Ton of sugar in there, but where you should have it in moderation is in your dessert. So what I do, I use sugar. I never use artificial sweeteners, and I discussed that a little bit more on Cuisinicity. And because I put sugar in its place and not in the places where it doesn't belong, none in my entrees, none in my pantry for those boxes and jars that you don't need the sugar in, my taste buds and our family's taste buds is just sensitive to sugar where it belongs. We love the sugar where it belongs, which is in dessert, and that's where I put it. So you will see that I tend to put much less sugar than the norm, but it's plenty sweet. And that's one, because we are used to less sweet food, but I think also because I use the natural sweetness of fruit, for example. And there's a limit to how much sugar you need in something. I have the feeling people just put it because they think the more the better. In fact, there's a certain point where all you get is a negative effects to your body, and it's just overly sweet and you don't even enjoy it. So in this particular cake, I use 3/4 cups of sugar. In the website, so far, I've gone down to 1 cup. I'm pushing it a little bit more. I do this all the time. I titrate it a little bit more now to 3/4 cups, and I'm sure it's going to be fine, and I'll let you know. But because I've compared it to the norm out there of comparable apple cakes, and I'm amazed. I mean, it's 2 to 3 times the amount of sugar that I put. Who needs all that sugar, all that sweetness? Unbelievable to me. Anyway, so canola oil, 3/4 cups of sugar, 3 eggs. And really, it's, to me, that's where Cuisinicity just shines, because it's all about using wholesome ingredients and everything in its place. Salt in its place, that's another thing that I want to talk about for this cake. Usually people put baking soda, sometimes baking powder, I get it, you need it to rise, but they put baking soda and salt, and that's a ton of sodium that you don't need. And not only don't you need it, but when you put salt, it kind of masks the sugar, so you don't know the salt is there, but you need that much more sugar to make it sweet to your tooth. Why do that? It's a double negative. Too much salt, too much sugar. Who needs that? Take out the salt, add a little less sugar, it will be plenty sweet. It's perfect. So I just mix that up. Do a little longer, but I don't want to make you wait. 3 cups of whole wheat flour or whole wheat pastry. Depends if you want it a little bit more dense. I like to use the whole wheat flour. If you want a little bit more dainty, whole wheat pastry flour. Either way, it's 3 cups. Very simple. And you'll notice again, in this particular cake, I don't even need the baking powder, let alone the baking soda or the salt. So there's no added sodium. It's going to be dense. It's going to be beautiful. I put cinnamon, but of course, cinnamon, and I mix it again. And I want you to see the consistency. It's going to be quite thick. That's okay, because the moisture is going to come. See this, how thick it is? From these apples. And you think, oh, how could she put so many apples in there? Don't you worry. You see all these apples? 5 cups. It's going to all go in there and get mixed in and give that batter that wonderful moisture and moistness. And there you go. That's it. Oh, it's just, oh, the smell is already wonderful. That's it. You put it in a little mold with a little bit of Smart Balance and a little flour so it doesn't stick. Put it in there. Bake it. I think it's about 45 minutes. I have to see exactly. Don't underbake it because you need it to be, it'll be moist from the apples, but you just want to make sure that everything is well cooked through. Let it cool before you unmold. It is delightful. Enjoy.